Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We're on episode 285 today, and we are going to work on the final Albrecht Durer image. It's a frog, and then tomorrow we will continue on. I'm going to work through finishing this entire page before coming up for air and considering maybe going back to small victories. We will see how I feel. I did have my mom go through. She was supposed to choose one page, and remember, she chose 5 pages and left cute little messages on each of the little tabs she made. So I will be working through this magical worlds with the small victories and romantic country, but I am allowing myself to stay in magical worlds for a time before I go back to the other two, because it's fun and it's my very first, and I am so excited that I'm using pencils. I just happen to have pencils that I have never used, which was really fun, and the very first set I ever bought happened to be what I am going to use today. Hopefully you saw the first 2 days of using the Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer, which they are a watercolor pencil, and I bought them to shift to a less messy water-based medium because that was my medium of choice back in the day. And since we were hitting the road in a fifth wheel, I wanted a non-messy version. And so my rules were no paints, no glitter. Those were the 2 main rules. So here I have my image ready. This is what we will be coloring today. We are going to use the same colors. The only thing I have done different today is I did introduce, for these cattails, I grabbed a brown. We'll just go ahead and do that right now. We have Van Dyke brown. Interesting that it's Van Dyke brown. And the Van Dyke is like somebody's name, an artist name probably, because it's capital, and then the brown is lowercase. 176. So I will say that I spent some time before coloring today. I'm getting an earlier start coloring than I have been all week. So I played with the Inktense for the very first time. I never even swatched them, you guys. I am so naughty, so naughty. I try, these days, I do try to make sure I buy supplies and I integrate them properly by swatching them, which the main purpose for me for swatching them is to get to know them and understand what they're doing. I've got my smallest brush, because this is a pretty small area, taking off a fresh chunk for me of paper towel. And I did not dry off the excess water. I am watching my water usage because of it being in a coloring book, and it's my maiden voyage using water in any coloring book, and I don't want to be overzealous and have anything bad happen. I tend to like the tip to tip technique the most, I think. It feels still using these brushes. Oh, and somebody did ask a great question yesterday. They said, okay, so you've used your aqua painters and now you've used some brushes. Which do you like the best? And I'm going to say that because of these images and how small they are, I am definitely a small brush kind of gal. And they don't feel like pencils to me. I still really like so now I'm evaluating to myself as I'm on my 3rd image, 3rd day in a row. So I'm thinking, okay, so I do this to rest and relax. Does this feel, using a brush and water, as relaxing as using pencils? And I'm going to say, the way I'm a comfortable painter, it has been many years. I think it's a little too soon to tell if I really feel quote unquote relaxed and if this is relaxing and calming to me. I think in a way I'm a little too excited, just being honest. The excitement of the new book, my very first new book, and the commitment of christening it and using a medium that was a favorite from my past. It feels a little bit like the whole experience of going back home to get my stuff was pretty exhilarating, and like I knew I was closing a chapter but opening another chapter. So I'm gonna say it's not relaxing. Now give me a little more time using these. I will probably, after I've used both the Inktense, which will be next, and I've never touched those, so that will be yet even less relaxing, but hopefully an exciting familiarization. So there's my 3 little brown cattails. Today I'm using the 2 small brushes. I think it's the same 3 as yesterday. I'm using these 2. I really liked how they worked, and the detail and the control. And then if I do the background, I do like, I think, this size of brush. See, this is smaller than the Aqua Painter, and I think that it works really well for the background area. I'm just going to grab whatever I have nearest me, get some of these smaller bits. I do not know if I have been actually taking water to these each day. Oh, I have 2 more cattails. Look at that. I missed them. Grabbing the brown again. That would be not the brown. Over here. These actually feel, these hexagonal pencils feel a little bit beefier. I have a caliper, so I can measure the thickness of them. I was having a problem with my calipers, and I think the battery, I had to change it out. So I really should measure these. I actually need to get back to working on some detailed walkthroughs of some of my sets that I have not done so. I got a little sloppy with this one, but I think it's okay. I think I told you guys that my package from Temu that has the fluorescent and metallics has arrived, and I need to get to unboxing those soon because those also get to get added. So let's see, how many pencil sets? I have 31 sets of pencils. I'm setting down the brown. I've already done the yellow. I don't have a need for blue except the sky. I could do his eyeball in this lovely bright blue that was the bellflowers, phthalo blue. So I've got neon, metallic, Inktense, of which I don't have the full set. I have 76. And the Albrecht Durer, I have 60, not the 120. So far, I have definitely found that there's plenty of choices. I'm going to grab the darker yellow. The stars are done in the lighter. I have dark Naples ochre, and I'm going to go ahead and draw them in now. So I do have a preference for the tip to tip. I have not found actually coloring first with the pencils to be a problem. I haven't found there to be any lines or pigment that doesn't dissolve nicely. So I am trying to, even though my preference is tip to tip, I'm trying to do a mix of both. I am going to do a a little inversion of colors when the time comes. Grabbed my little brush. I actually have a big enough space that I think the slightly wider, flatter brush, it's an angled flat. I'm gonna be able to come in here. Soften the line. See, this is where I feel that the pigment going down directly on the paper does work with these. I have hesitation for, oh, look at that, I forgot 3. Inktense, mainly because I'm not familiar with them. So we will see when I get to working on them how I want to tackle that. It might be that the Inktense ones aren't perfect. We will have some learning curve for me. But I will walk you guys through my thoughts every step of the way. I have to be careful not to overwater. The sun is not shining as bright as it was yesterday, but it was also a couple hours later, so I don't have to close my curtain. And my light is turned down, though I did make sure to turn it on. Okay, yellow done. Nice and easy. I will say overall this is pretty quick coloring. We're not going to need our 2 burgundy colors. If I go back over here. Oops, that is me knocking into the stand. Sorry about that. Not as much room with this big book. Logistical issues for me. Okay, so we're not using from the snail of yesterday. No mushroom pink, no snail body purple. But we will be using both sets of greens and then the night sky blue. So let's go ahead and grab Indanthrene blue is the blue. It's like a purpley blue. So we'll go ahead and do the sky. I don't know that I've done the sky early on. I can't remember the very first one, but yesterday the sky was last. So I like to just put, if I am going to do the pencil directly, I like to add it to these little corner bits where I want my color to be darkest. So Sunday is a very exciting day. Hub won't think so, I'm sure. His birthday is Sunday, and this is our first time celebrating with family in many, many, many years. So I actually had my mom, actually everybody went, the whole family went, all except Hub. He was off working on the trail. So it was kind of I didn't have to get anything else. So I'm switching to the bigger brush. This brush. And it was really fun because I went through and tried to find him just a couple of little interesting things. One was something he needed. One was something just for fun. And then I got him a treat, for a food treat. I wanted to get him something different, but I couldn't find it. He wants some beef jerky, some good beef jerky. And we're having a hard time here on the East Coast with our beef jerky choices. And so I wasn't able to find that. And then I got him, he always really loves ice cream cake. And Walmart has like a giant double-sided big frozen refrigerator thing full of different choices. And I believe last year when I went, there were not a lot of options. And I think his birthday might have been on a weekend. Whatever it was, I was determined to get there today, before Sunday, and give him a good option. And I found 2 smaller ones, 2 different sizes. So that'll be enough for us. And then I'll probably take some to our neighbors. It's a couple. They are very good to us. So right here is where you can see some of the pigment, and I'm patting it with the brush to remove the actual look. I guess it's a little bit of a mottled look that you get when you first put here. This is the look right here. Trying to smooth that out in the areas that I've already pulled the pigment away with the water. Okay. This is what I'm going to have to remember tomorrow. That the Inktense is a one and done. I'm going to have to... I was practicing today when I was swatching out my little swatches for my color options. So I'm not going to have all of this extra time here that I can just kind of fuss and move the water around and soften it. So we're going to see how challenging I find this new medium, new to me. And that's where I think I'm going to go tip to tip. I'm even thinking, I have not done wet on wet, which is where I take water first and I wet an area and then add the color second. I think I might be trying that. See, I can forget and leave all of these areas that are now dry. I cannot do that with the Inktense. Maybe I'm overthinking it and making it more difficult than it's going to need to be. So this area, I see some lines. This is why I do this softening, because I don't want lines. I want it to be a nice mottled, washed effect. And I need a little more. Oop. Yeah, I got a little carried away there, didn't I? Okay. This is always good. I did want some more, but not quite that much, and not right there. Got some on his chin. I think we're okay. Another technique I do all the time on my cards is splattering. So before Sunday, if I wanted to do a little bit of homework, I can cut out with dye. I have circle dies. This size, pick one that matches the size. My favorite dies, if you do have any stamping, I bought these nested dies from Hero Arts. That's like 18 circles from 1/4 of an inch all the way up to like 4 inches round. And those were great. I think I paid $10. They were new on eBay, and I got the ovals and the rounds, and I have loved them. All right, I'm okay with that lighter. area above these cattails being very, very pale. Now I'm just going through darkening some up. Just to give it more interest, and then we will move on. Okay, we're gonna leave that. Frog. Here's what we're doing. This is the earth green yellowish 68. Chromium green opaque. So this is light and dark olive. The first frog is the bluey green. This frog is going to be the olive green. And the lily pads are going to be the bright green. He still has blue lips. Okay, so I am going to see. I have a little repair work to do. Tiny brush, wet. So this is the part of Inktense that scares me. See how I was able to fix that? I am not going to be able to fix once the Inktense is dry. All right, back to coloring. I'm liking the idea of kind of mixing a little bit of this dark in with the lighter. Those cute little toes. You guys, you'll never guess what I saw today. I'm at Walmart and I was looking for a particular coloring book. In fact, I wanted the Kirby Rosanna's book, and I saw the label for it, but it wasn't there. But guess what I did see? I saw Magical Worlds. I could not believe that it was just sitting there. There was just like 1 or 2 copies left. A lot of, they even had the mythographic artist, the Vault version, and I would have loved to have bought it, but I didn't want the hard copy, and they had the hard copy, and it said something about it only being available at Walmart. So that was eye-opening for me. I have been coloring for a very long time now. Just in the last 2 years, it's been a conversion or switch over to being interested in coloring books. And this is my first time actually staring at the coloring books in the book section of Walmart. Not the kids. I've been to the kids section. I didn't even think to look in the adult section. So that's a tip for you. If you are curious about some of these books that are Walmart only, that are these great coloring book artists, check out Walmart. Your local Walmart. Okay, which size brush? We're going to go with the middle one. I seem to be using my paper towel a lot, so I'm going to get myself a new piece. I think I'm going to set these 2 greens down. I have been holding the pencil, whatever color I'm working on. I actually have been leaving it in my hand. But I want to focus. His lips are going to have to be one of the pinks. Coral, actually, is the color. since this is an angled brush, I'm just using the tip of it, the very top here. I could grab the thinner one, but I don't think it's necessary. These feet almost look like a little crown. All right, he is finished. Moving on to lily pad green. I can tell you this angled brush is not my favorite. It is not. The bright greens are dark phthalo green 264 and deep cobalt green 158. The deep cobalt green, I'm gonna get into these darker areas. This is just a set of very bright greens. And let's go ahead with the cattail grass. Kind of loose and sloppy with my ovals. They do not have to be perfect. I noticed that little teeny tiny bit of the circle could have a little spot of blue. We'll see what happens. I want to grab the dark to put right here. And a little dark right there. So, I think I'm going to grab the biggest, which is actually quite small still, this one. I personally feel it doesn't matter which green goes where in the end. Same with when I'm doing leaves and I have 4 different green tones. I don't really care about the accuracy of which leaf shape should be which color, as long as it's a nicely balanced variation of them. That's my thought on greens. I have just one little bit left. The lips. The frog has lips. And then this, I just want to soften that up a little bit. Frog lips, coral. Here is the coral. And let's see if this, where I fixed, where I had the navy blue, or Indanthrene blue, I went too dark on the blue right there. Now, very thin brush, and we are done. And it's only 32 minutes, so guess what I'm going to do? Let's just see. I am actually all ready with the Inktense. I picked my colors today in the off chance that I would be pretty fast. So there is our frog, all finished. Here is our snail, trying not to hit the stand. And here is the first frog from day 1. All 3 finished. Okay, so I have to switch the angle to get to snail number 1. I'm so excited, you guys. I am gonna do pencils I've never used. Okay, I have to do a little more work here. I might fold the sloth back. You ready for this? We are really christening this book. There we go. I have folded it all the way down. Being so brave. I can't wait till I ripple a page enough that I have to go back to my Colorful Country Life's new video, or very recent video, that she just put out on how to iron my wrinkly pages. And yes, I do not own an iron. We do have a garage sale happening on the 2nd, November 2nd. So I might be on the hunt for an iron, or I'll send somebody else because I'm going to be selling things. I'm going to show you what I did. This is how ready I am. Here's how ready I was not. The only thing I did for this frog was the brown. So this frog was pretty much freehand, very spontaneous. The other 2, there's that one sample done, and this guy I didn't like the background. I think I mentioned that his background was too bright, so I switched it. So here is this fine snail done in Inktense, and here's all of the colors because I do not know the color line at all. The little asterisks are the ones that I like and that I have pulled aside. So let's just keep pressing on, and I will get at least a few minutes in. I do not have the pencils up in my Lazy Susan. They're sitting here. I have my very first bunny rabbit case with the 3-hole, 3 pencils per slot. And there's enough room here in the middle. I don't know what size this particular case is, but it has 76 and 60, and it has a flap. A little bit over 2.5 free. So that is where I have put my pencils. I have told you that my theory I'm starting with yellow because that's easy. I am going to do tip to tip, and I'm going to do wet to wet, which are, I probably won't be coloring, at least not today, for just a few minutes. Let's see. Make sure that you can see everything that's going on. This is the yellow that I've picked, and it is going to do the stars. It is cadmium yellow 0210. Yay! I feel so, a sense of accomplishment on this page. Okay, cleaning that brush off. Pretty much done with this. The only color, oh, and did I mention that I matched as best I could the color scheme up above is what the color scheme will be for the Inktense row as well. If I have not mentioned that, that is my plan. Okay, sea blue is the bellflower blue. See how dark these barrels dipped ends look? So I had to test every single one. If I had more free time. So we're doing a wet on dry. And I'm going to see. That is pretty darn wet, isn't it? Grabbing a little scrap. I don't like how wet that one is. And sorry, my hands are all over in the thick of things. I did find these quite vibrant. A little bit more. So the other thing I can do is let them dry, these lighter ones. Once they're dry, I can come back through. These aren't quite dry, but it should add a darker layer. I'm just softening those lines. I don't mind them being some a little bit darker, some a little lighter. That's okay. Okay, that is the sea blue. I have to put them back in here. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Yep, very good. Snail color. Oh, so the snail coloring was really challenging. Let's go back to my swatches. I chose dusky purple and red violet. This is red violet, and the red violet is actually more that color in the Inktense, and this color is called dusky purple. So I was happy that I found with all of my colors except the coral was a challenge. So I have both of these snail colors. What are we doing for time? 39. See, I'm going to get most of this done. All right. Dusky purple is the snail body, and the shell part, which actually looks like these water droplets, is going to be done in the red violet. And I'm a little, I did this dry, so let's just be really brave. I am going to do the same thing I did on my sample sheet. I went ahead and did dry in the spiral. All the way out. I think I'm going to stop there. Well, I can't because look, I started way off here. We'll see how much of this plan I regret or if it works. These are really big water droplet elements. I think it is very outside the box thinking. Very cute. I say cute a lot with this book. When I was doing the flip through, I was like, I should be counting how many times I am saying cute. Okay, because I don't know what's going to happen, I don't want to do the small brush. I'm afraid that might be a mistake. Big brush, the biggest one that I have for today, and I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to start in the middle and pull the color out. And it will probably end up being a little on the light side, but I can go back in and add more to darken up the shadowed areas. Yeah, I like that the pigment isn't looking grainy. It is melting nicely. I'm going to do another layer of dark along the shadow lines there. Now, can I soften those edges that I left because it's maybe too dry? It's still not dry. That's good. So yeah, way back I was talking about adding splatter, doing the circle die, just one circle die, and I should be able to do some splatter treatment at the end to this page for Sunday. All right, so that is layer one. I'm going to let that dry. I'm okay with that, but I do want to go darker with the delicate brush. Let's see. And then for the dusky purple, here's the dusky purple. I am going to take the dainty brush and do wet on wet. That was a big experiment for me, working the other way of actually coloring on let's see if I can get, I'm worried about my lines. Soften the lines, lighten it up. Well, yeah, remember I told you guys I was going to do wet on wet. That's what I need to do here. That is the fix. Okay, so adding wet. So this whole area is wet. drying off. I feel so awkward, you guys. It's like it took forever to get very comfortable with pencils. Now I've got all these different things in my hand. And I have to be careful with my time. I don't want everything to dry. Now let's, oops. So I feel very awkward. Okay. Yeah, most of my lines are gone there that were bothering me. It came out very, this is a much more pigmented pencil. All right, so wet on wet. You know I'm concentrating if it's silent. Okay, that's a little dark. This is still wet over here. Okay, I'm doing another little bit here. Almost done. I will probably finish the rest of this tomorrow. This can be really dark down here. This part is not wet. And that part's not wet. But this is all wet. Nice. Phew, you guys, I survived. Look at that. Now, subsequent colorings in here. Everything else, all my other pencils, I pretty much know them. These are the ones I just do not know. So, let me know what you guys think. If you have any tips I don't know about for these Inktense, feel free to toss me a comment. I like how vivid they are. I think I haven't messed it up too bad. And tomorrow is Saturday, and if I'm really efficient and I'm using the same colors, I will. So here is the snail. Let's make sure it's focused if I set it all the way down. We got that frog to do, and then we have a mushroom and a snail. Whew. Thank you all for joining me today, and welcome back if you are returning. This has been a ball this week. Very fun week for me. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. And take care. We'll see you then.